Hello, I'm Dr. Len Baer. Welcome to another Sunday podcast, Targeted Justice v. Garland. This is week 34 episode. Yes, it's been this long since we filed this extraordinary lawsuit. And the further we go, the more extraordinary it becomes. You don't have to believe me. You can just listen to the commentary by my Sunday co-pilot, the queen of jurisprudence, a remarkable Amazon woman warrior, and the attorney for the plaintiffs, Anna Toledo. Welcome to the show, Anna.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. And I'm just so happy to be here. This is the highlight of my week.
Excellent, Anna. I have to say this week, I also learned that an initiative called International Natural and Common Law Tribunal for Public Health and Justice that takes on the issues that can be summarized as crimes against humanity, that they have nominated you, Anna, and elected as a judge for this international tribunal. So congratulations, Your Honor. Anna?
Thank you. Thank you, Len. Well, as had mentioned to you, it's really important for me because when I got here, I started from scratch. I started in zero. All the history, all my background that I had accumulated back home, went to ashes when I got here. So for me, I am very grateful and very honored to form part of that institution because they play a really important role in creating awareness about the crimes against humanity, and they're going to be working with us in some initiatives, as you know, the initiatives that we're going to be undertaking with ICATOR and PAX. So I am just very honored and thankful.
Excellent. Thank you, Anna. I will make sure to post a link to this initiative's website in the description of the show. But now let's introduce today's special guest, Melanie Vritschan, who is also associated with two important international organizations, ICATOR, International Coalition Against Electronic Torture and Robotization of Living Beings, and European Coalition Against Covert Harassment. Melanie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Len. I'm really, really pleased to be here. I'm recording this, from my holiday spot, here in the south of France. But I'm really thrilled to be here, and I thank you so much for this opportunity of this interview.
You're very welcome. We're excited to have you. We'll talk to Melanie later in the show. But now it's time for our legal segment. And I hope you're sitting down because the information in this segment will definitely be an eye-opener. On the last show, Anna and I reviewed the case Ibrahim v. DHS that contained far-reaching facts and findings pertaining to the TSDB, the Terrorist Screening Database, filed by the attorneys of CARE, Council of Arab American Relations. This week, I would like to start our legal segment with reviewing another case that Anna informed me about. Just like our case, it was dismissed at the district court level and is currently sitting in the same U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, where our case is also currently in. So if it's okay with you, Anna, I prepared some slides, and let's go to the slides, and then I would like you to explain the significance of this groundbreaking case, its connection to our case, and then you can also provide us with other relevant updates. Sounds like a plan, Anna?
It is. It's a plan. Go for it.
Okay, let's do it. So these are the slides that I prepared about this another Fifth Circuit TSDB case that we will review today. The case is called Kovas v. Wray. As you know, Christopher Wray is the director of the FBI. The case was filed in Northern District of Texas. It has 5 plaintiffs, all U.S. citizens. It has 6 individual defendants, including Mr. Ray. Plaintiffs are represented by 4 attorneys associated with CARE, Council of American Islamic Relations. Case was dismissed on March 9th of this year, and notice of appeal was filed in 5th Circuit on March 22nd of this year. And legal brief was filed on June 21st. This is the legal brief by the plaintiffs, and that's the subject of today's conversation. Did I get the facts straight so far, Anna?
Yes, and I have to add to that the government asked for an extension of time to file their brief by September 19th, and the clerk of the court said, "Now we'll partly grant your request," and gave them until the last week of August to file it. So that's good. That's really good.
I agree. This is a good indication of really where the court stands. So let's talk about the issue in this case, Kovas v. Ray. The issue is whether federal agencies' creation, maintenance, and operation of the federal terror watch list poses a major question that demands clear congressional authorization, and if so, whether such clear congressional authorization exists. Do you have any comments about the issue, Anna?
Yeah, well, the wonderful thing about this case is that the district court, the Northern District of Texas Court, already made a factual finding that being placed on the list represents, and I quote, "the liberty intrusions that flow from the watch list are significant." The TSC compiles biographic, biometric identifying information, name, date of birth, photographs, iris scans, and or fingerprints of listed individuals. These are people, the plaintiffs, the appellants in this case are people that encounter problems when traveling. They are not like targeted individuals that are in there for a secret criteria and don't, as Timothy Gross said, don't represent a terrorist threat. The second thing important is this case, that is the first time I see it in all of these cases that have litigated the TSDB, which are all filed primarily by Muslims, is that they say Mr. Kovac has not been investigated, has not been accused, has not been tried or sentenced for any terrorism. And that's language that we have been using from the get-go, that plaintiffs are placed on this list, targeted individuals are placed on this list without an iota of evidence that they are linked to terrorism. So, yeah.
Okay.
Len.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. I personally have not expected such a turn of events. We never actually thought whether Congress authorized. We just, me not legally minded, I just thought, okay, here's the executive order, but the deeper question is whether the Congress authorized it. And so this is what claims in this case are brought under due process clause, equal protection clause, non-delegation doctrine, Administrative Procedure Act. Do you have any comments, Anna? Because some of these are not, I'm not really familiar with, so maybe you can explain.
Well, I knew that Congress had to authorize this, but here's the distinction, okay? This case comes in at another stage. This case is beyond the pleadings stage. It has gone to the circuit a few times. So they have carried out some discovery, and this is a summary judgment case, okay, which is Rule 56, which is way down the line. We are not in that position yet to argue that, because we don't have, for example, we have not been able to put into the record the evidence that the evidence he talks about, the distribution of the watch list, and I'm referring to the watch list as the TSDB, okay, because we know it's not the same thing, but I'm referring to the whole thing. as a watch list, because the distribution of the TSDB, I learned about it because he is the one, this attorney, this lead attorney, is the one that litigated the successful case, El Haiti versus Cable, that eventually the Fourth Circuit reversed, only because they said that those plaintiffs had a redress procedure, which is really not meaningful redress, to get their names removed from the list. So although, you know how you like to talk about serendipity and synchronicity, although it appears to be a different, situation, it is not, because they're both saying the same, we're both speaking the same language. These are innocent people, and what they're doing is racial profiling, actually, in his case. But he's not going there, because I think he already tried to litigate that, and the courts dismissed it. But when you see that they're all put in this list and they have not been investigated, accused, or sentenced for any terrorist crime, you know it's racial profiling what they're doing. But he just explained it so beautifully, because it is Congress. This restriction of liberties of American citizens has to come down from a mandate from Congress. It cannot be arbitrarily carried out by the agencies as it has been done. And as you and I know, agencies don't even comply with their own regulations, because that Inspector General of the United States, in its report 08-16, said it. FBI does not comply with agency regulation. So aside from the fact that it's not a mandate from Congress with a specific criteria, we know that they are just doing with it whatever they want to do. Then.
Okay, Anna. Thank you for explaining this difference in between our cases. That's something I didn't know before. I always learn something from you. This is an important distinction, and I believe you are referring to, when you say you're referring to main attorney Mr. Abbas, and I read his writing, and Mr. Abbas is associated with CARE. I tried to contact Mr. Abbas. We admire your work. You're welcome on this podcast. We would love to join our forces. I understand you're a busy person, but your legal writings are just extremely important and comprehensive. So with that, let's go to the other slide. This is the summary judgment that you were referring to, Anna. The district court believes that the Congress clearly authorized the list based on the vague mishmash of statutory language. And the plaintiffs argue that Congress has not authorized to create, maintain, administer, or use of million name list to infringe on the liberty of U.S. citizens, which represents extraordinary assertion of federal agency power. This is something that you just explained to us, Anna. So with that, let's go to some of the select arguments. I didn't cover all the arguments, but I thought some of the arguments were really important and relevant. For example, the way they explain serious intrusion of personal liberty, they give an example of employee mandated vaccination, and they gave an example of CDC issuing this vaccination mandate to the government employees, which is a significant encroachment into the lives and health of the employees, and it's not everyday exercise of federal power. This is the type of encroachment that they're talking about, which we know was reversed. So, Anna, do you have any comments about that?
Well, they also mention that the TSC, which is a terrorist screening center, distributes the watch list information to thousands of law enforcement and private entities, and this is the key, where it impacts traffic stop, field interviews, house visits, about the wellness checks, municipal permit processes, firearm purchases, certain licensing applications, and in this case also I read, even in bond hearings for people that are accused of anything, they are using this information and not telling the accused. So even though he doesn't go into it, the targeting is this describes targeting. It's because people that are on the list, they are subject to unfair traffic stops. They are profiled. They're singled out. And that's where for example, criminal entrapment begins. It's just the snowball effect that the unfairness of being on this list just puts all the odds against you. And that's why it interferes with these major principal liberties of people, to be walking around without having police interfere with you unfairly and all of these cases. So yeah, he hit the nail on the head. And I'm just dying to read what what defendants are gonna answer. Len.
Yes, we were very much on the edge of our seats to see what happens in this case, and of course, in our case, the fact that this Fifth Circuit Court has these two cases in front of them. This is remarkable. This is not this is an extraordinary time in our country's history. And let me go to the conclusions in Kovas, right? These conclusions are obviously by the plaintiffs because we're reviewing plaintiffs' brief. So they conclude that Congress has not authorized federal agencies to create and maintain watch lists in size, scope, or level of intrusion on listees into the individual liberty. These are all the things that you mentioned, Anna, just a minute ago. The everyday life, from traffic stop to renting to financial decisions, it affects every aspect of listees' life. And that, however, district court held that Congress clearly authorized the watch list. And at the same time, district court did not conclude that the text of any specific statute authorized federal agencies to create, maintain, and use the watch list. Instead, the argument was cobbled together from a hodgepodge of different statutes. This is not the way we conduct legal affairs in this country. This separation of power between the lawmakers and the executive branch, this separation of power, cannot tolerate this. Beautifully said, Mr. Abbas. What do you say, Anna?
Well, yeah, beautifully said. I echo that. And not only that, but for as it pertains to our case, because what he's referring to is that what Congress authorized is for the TSA to use this information to screen passengers, okay? But that's not an authorization of the watch list of the TSDB per se, okay? It's just the use of it. But in our particular situation, which is, I have to bring it here, is that even Homeland Security Presidential Directive 6 that authorized this terrorist screening database, it does not contemplate placing anyone that is not a known or suspected terrorist on it. And now we know that Mr. Robinson swore under penalty of perjury that there's people there for a secret criteria. So they are even abusing their own mandate or executive order under which they think they have authority to place innocent civilians, innocent Americans, and innocent people throughout the world on this list. So we're going to take that argument a step further. There's not only no congressional authority, but also even their executive order authority doesn't give them the right to put innocent people and mark them as suspected terrorists, because, as Timothy Grow admitted under penalty of perjury, they do not represent a terrorist threat. And this list is supposed to be only for those alleged terrorist threats. Len.
I totally agree. And I also like the language of Mr. Abbas when he tells the Congress that you cannot dodge this function of authorizing. If an executive branch, if a federal agency is going to take away the basic liberties and the basic rights of U.S. citizen, the Congress cannot dodge not authorizing it. So with that, this is my conclusion. Fifth Circuit is the place to be. Anna, do you have any other legal updates?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to share I'm very proud. I had to bring my prop today. I'm very proud. Let me see if you see it there. It's my diploma from the Fifth Circuit, because there's a lot of people. Oh, there you go. There you have it. Of my admission to the Fifth Circuit, and I'm very proud of it because, it takes a lot of preparation and education and effort to achieve that. Of the 1.3 million attorneys in the United States, a reduced amount, probably less than 10%, are admitted to district courts, and a very smaller amount are admitted to the Court of Appeals. So, I am very proud of that, because I know we're going to make history. Both the Mr. Abbas case, the Kovac versus Ray case, and our case are going to change the course of history, not just for Americans, but for people around the world. And I'm just really proud to have received that and to be part of it. And like I have said on a few occasions before I had a happy life. Despite the bad things that happened to me, I always took it like, well, if something bad happens for a good reason. But now I have a meaningful life, which is, we're going to end this evil program, and we're going to do it. And so I wouldn't change my life for anyone's, despite the targeting and everything. I wouldn't change where I am right now for anyone. So I'm very thankful to the targeted community for having deposited their trust in me, and I'm just going to work real hard to not let anyone down. Then,
Anna, beautifully said, and congratulations on receiving the certificate from the Fifth Circuit. You are officially in. So, and your words about your life having a meaning, I hope that every targeted individual takes it to heart. You are a perfect example of this. You're on a mission, and every targeted individual can give a meaning to their life if they get involved into this everyday activism. And targeted justice is there to support you and give you information, give you materials, give you the tools. We will support you all the way, and we will work on this together. So give TIs, give meaning to your life.
It's a motivation, really.
Yeah.
The suffering that we have gone through is a motivation, because we don't want future generations to go through what we've gone through. And this horrible moment in history, we have to make sure it never happens again. MK Ultra was redone, COINTELPRO was redone, and we have the responsibility. Every TI has the responsibility to make sure that we bring it down and it doesn't happen again.
Okay, Melanie, thank you for being so patient and waiting for your turn. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. You have not just an international, but also a specific Belgian perspective on things. So I hope you can explain the specific and the uniqueness of your country, specific jurisprudence system. But for starters, please take us through your personal journey that brought you to this moment in time. Melanie?
Yeah, thank you, Len. Well, my personal story is, I'm actually a German citizen, and after my studies, I won a competition at the European Union, and that's why I moved to Brussels. and I worked there as temporary agent for about 3 years, and then I found other jobs. So until then, I think it was just a normal, regular, as Anna said, happy life, But maybe it was certainly less meaningful than what I do now. When I was 38 years of age, I was targeted. That means I've been non-consensually implanted and used in all kinds of experiments that I've never consented to, and that I think I might be the first citizen in Belgium, or maybe one of the first even in Europe, that I have all the scientific proof of this non-consensual implantation, and being a victim of also what is called organized stalking, with a lot of police reports where there were witnesses to it, and also there were various of my neighbors were witnesses of people entering my home clandestinely and explaining they were real estate agents when I actually never put up my apartment for sale. So based on that, I was, it has been recognized, my victimization with these, emerging technologies has been recognized officially by the Belgian state. And therefore I got a, well, it's not very much, of course, but a disability pension, but what is different from most of the victims is that I got it based on the scientific evidence that I was able to produce, and not based on some kind of psychological disorder, or which is often the case, as we know, with victims of electronic terrorism. And I stress that we're talking about a new form of terrorism here. So that is clearly the case. So that is my story. My last employment before being targeted was I used to work for a program of the European Space Agency for the operator. I don't know if you've heard about the Galileo project. That's a worldwide satellite navigation program. And I worked on EGNOS. That was the European prototype of this the satellite navigation program. So I earned quite well, but my life quite well. I had a lot of friends, colleagues, and I was traveling a lot, and did a lot of sports, was totally healthy. And I would say I lived a happy life, but my eyes were still shut to what is really going on and the issues that are now really crucial in my life. And I'm determined to resolve them, or at least be one of the spearheads of this movement to resolve them, to, as Anna said, to create a happier, safer world for us all, especially for our children and our children's children. So that's in a nutshell. That is also then why I ICATOR, or ICATOR, the International Coalition Against Electronic Torture and Robotization of Living Beings, is already the third association I have founded or co-founded. That I have the honor to serve as the president. I was involved in the International Center Against Abuse of Covered Technology 10 years ago, which was started by a Californian citizen, Mr. Jesse Beltran at the time. And then that was in 2011 that was founded. And then in 2013, I co-founded with the German-Swedish lawyer, Dr. Henning Witte, an association that was called, that you just mentioned, Len, the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment. We founded that in Stockholm. And in 2015, I was approached by a few of citizens living in Belgium, because the targeting is very, very bad in Belgium. I mean, as you know, we have NATO just right next door, and a lot of governmental institution. And I think Brussels is the city in the world that has the most spies that is recognized, the most intelligence presence. So I was approached by a couple of victims asking me to create an association in Belgium, a not-for-profit association, and to assume the presidency of this association. So ICATO was created in 2016 with various Belgian citizens living in Belgium as board members and one in France. And since then, my efforts have been tireless to raise awareness for these crimes. You know, I've been numerous times in the European Parliament, meeting members of the European Parliament, and also organizing hearings and meetings about this subject. And I've also been focusing on providing victims the necessary scientific evidence of their victimization, and that I'm doing this to this day, so that they could at least benefit, let's say, in the first stage of disability pain, because victims once they're targeting, they lose all their livelihood, their financial stability. Many of them are homeless, so that I could at least benefit from a disability pension. But and that this is the important thing, not being categorized as mentally ill. So I achieved that for me, and I have been organizing measurements and scans for the targeted community since then, so that a few of my fellow citizens that fell victim to this could benefit from the first help, or at least not protect them from getting really homeless. But this is only the first step. Then I have been focusing on actually getting us legal representation, because it is sure that I'm very, very full of admiration what Anna has done, has accomplished, and is still accomplishing. I believe she will go very far with this, and I agree that we're creating something historical. This will be a historical case. But I've also been focusing on this to mount a case, to present something solid that hopefully the judge will not dismiss, or if he or she dismisses, we will immediately file an appeal. And this is really a crime that is it's the highest judicial authorities that have to statuate on that. So we're not afraid of going up to Strasbourg if we have to, so we will see. But the first thing is to collect sufficient evidence, or some circumstantial evidence, so that the judge can form this intimate conviction that to launch investigations, because our judicial system is a little different than it is in the States, I believe. We have to, I believe that in the United States, it has to be the DA, that launches investigations, it decides upon launching investigations. We in Europe have a little a different system. We have the possibility of seizing an investigative judge, we as victims, to ask him to launch investigations. That's what we're planning to do. And after about 10 years of looking for legal representation, as you know, probably it is very difficult to find legal representation for victims. There's hardly any lawyer brave enough to take this on. And I did find legal representation. There is a legal law firm, but that only works. It's a not-for-profit association actually as well. They only take cases that are in the public interest. So public interest cases. This clearly is a public interest case. This is about our health case, about public health concern. Security, of course, and the freedom of all citizens, not only European, but around the world. I believe we're at a crucial time now to secure this freedom, and it is only, unfortunately, us that have been targeted ourselves, and that know what we're going through and experiencing this you could say hell, that unfortunately have to take this the responsibility to see to it that occurs. So the law firm or the law association that I was able to to engage with us in this fight is called Droit et Liberté, Rights and Freedoms. We had various conferences with them. You might have seen one of them was done with Anna Toledo when she was in Brussels, when she explained about the legal procedure she has launched, and that was very, very well received. There were many citizens that were not necessarily targeted that came later to me and to our head lawyer, Paolo Crescenzo, asking questions, saying that, we're astonished this is going on and why isn't anything done? So that helped us to grow our ranks and the awareness, because I think the awareness is crucial in our situation, to get the critical mass to help us, to support us, so that we can swing the odds in our favor and hopefully mount a successful case. So that I've been really focusing on. The other thing is that there were previous efforts made, by myself to obtain a hearing in the European Parliament. There is, especially in front of a committee that is called Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs. It's the Libby Committee. That is the committee responsible for this kind of, concerns. In 2000, and that where the connection is also with Dr. Alfred Lambert-Weber. I don't think that Anna has mentioned that before, but we will certainly work closer with targeted justice in the future, and also PACS. And Dr. Alfred Lambert-Weber was one of the pioneers in raising awareness for these crimes and trying to create appropriate legislation to regulate these technologies and prohibit these technologies. With his help at the time, I believe it was in 2013, I had approached the president of the Libby Committee and asked him to organize a hearing about these issues with all our experts, so medical, legal, and technical. And I was in the process of obtaining this when there had been a Canadian victim that had been coming over, to stay with me during the Christmas holidays, because she didn't feel safe in Canada. She was very, very afraid that they would put her in a psych ward or even, seriously harm or kill her. So she came over a bit in a fright, and she was witness to what happened to me. We said before the Christmas holidays, okay, we're about to organize this hearing, and after the Christmas holidays, we'll meet for a preliminary meeting to organize this hearing, and that would have been really, something substantial, And so, okay, one evening we came home with my hands full of shopping bags, because I had organized for the New Year's for New Year's Eve a dinner for TIs, for targeted individuals that were lonely, and I was handcuffed into my friend was a victim, witness to this. I was handcuffed in front of my home and taken to a Brussels University psych ward, where I met a psychiatrist who told me, well, he didn't really know what is going on, but he had received the order from the prosecutor to actually hospitalize me in this psych ward. And so we had a discussion, and he then called my GP. And my GP, because of the measurements I had been organizing in the Faraday cage, and with private investigators with whom we're collaborating, my GP said, well, I'm sorry, but she has all of the scientific and medical proof to prove that she is a victim of what she's claiming to be a victim. And even if she wasn't, there is no reason to arrest somebody in front of your home if you're not posing any threat to yourself or to anybody else. So it was completely dysfunctional what happened. And so I was waiting with the 3 police officers in the room when the psychiatrist came back. I was still handcuffed. And then the psychiatrist turned to me and said, yeah, I've spoken to your GP, madam, you're free to go. And he asked the police officers to take off my the handcuffs. And well, the police officer was very reluctant to do that. And then I heard, well, he said he did it and asked me if I was going to be nice or not going to throw a fit. And I said, well, of course I've been nice, I'm going to be nice. So he took off my handcuffs and he took the police officer in a room, well, the psychiatrist in a room next door, and he said, "Doctor, can I speak to you 2 minutes in private?" And they went to the room next door, and I didn't hear exactly what they were saying, but I heard that the doctor said, "No, I'm sorry, no." So I think that police officer at that point was trying to put pressure on the doctor to have me administrated, but the psychiatrist did not play ball, and so I was free to go. So that shows us what's the importance of collecting such scientific evidence, that you have something to hold against, these false psychological disorder diagnoses that are so easily put on the victims of this kind of crime. So that's what I've been dealing with in an effort to go forward and to really develop our course and also our organization to grow. And I'm very pleased to announce that yesterday we had a meeting where we decided to work closer together with Targeted Justice, because I have, and also PACS, because I have a lot of respect for the work you do and that Anna does. Sorry.
I just wanted to say that Melanie was the one that taught me that her V2K called her a failed experiment. And now you can see why she is, because they have done everything they could to bring her down. And she's just such a strong person. And I like to say that the only thing I take a pride on being a failure, is being this failed experiment, because there is no technology, there is no human malfeasance that can stop this. And she's a prime example of that. So I wanted to share something before she comes back. We have a TI that writes to us, and I'm just going to write. It's one verse of one of her poems. She writes poems, and she wrote this. I'm not going to say her name because I don't have authorization, but I'll read what she wrote. It says, "I hope and I dream of a day I am free, not under surveillance, where all eyes can see." And it's a longer poem, but that is just the gist of what we're all fighting for. And I just want to tell her I'm gonna write to her, because as I've mentioned before, my favorite thing is to get letters and write to the people that write to us. But I will be answering her and thanking her for the pretty poems. But it's going to be a reality. We are going to be free, and we're fighting really hard every day for that. So I just want people to be very conscious of their verb, of their words, because I used to say, when you put words out there and they cause hurt, you cannot take them back. The hurt is already there. So I just urge people to be very careful with their words, because towards others and towards themselves, because it's important to be mindful of that, and to abstain from unfairly judging or unfairly hurting people, especially people that are trying to help you.
the one thing I wanted to say is, I think it's very important that we create this alliance and we work closer together, because I believe that only like this we can solve this problem. Also, like in Belgium and with ICATO, what happened is that I have always been dreaming of creating a proper office, for us. And so we have been working, as I said, with this law firm, Droit et Liberté, Rights and Freedoms. And we were looking of sharing an office with them. So, but the thing is that we have to get every member to participate with at least 10 euros monthly to be able to pull this project off. And then I've also been working in creating a proper TI clinic. So what we would like to do is to have this, the law firm, ICATOR, and this TI clinic all under one roof, so that TIs can be diagnosed there and helped and treated. Also to protect our members from this false psychiatric diagnosis, that happens unfortunately still much too often. So I'm at the moment working on this. The crucial, we need the critical mass of members to be willing to give at least 10 euros a month, so we can move out of my home, move out the office out of my home, and create a proper office with rights and freedoms, with to have the lawyers in house, the doctors in house, and ICATOR, of course. So we're asking the members to help us to support this project. And if you look on the ICATOR website, there is a section that is called membership and donations, and we would like to call on the member support so that we can move this the office out of my place as soon as possible. I think it's very important because it also gives us a more professional image. And especially as recently, unfortunately, we had some setback. It happened when Anna came over. We had one of our former board members, that is called, his name is George Pierce, who I was always surprised that he was actually involved in ICATOR, because he himself is not a victim. He's always said he's not a victim. He said he was just very interested in this issue. So maybe I was not cautious enough at the beginning, but I never had any signs that he could be dishonest, or before at least. And I thought, well, it's actually something extraordinary or exceptional that a citizen that himself does not consider himself to be a victim is interested in the subject, and he really wanted to be part of ICATOR and to help. Although we did not have so much help because he cannot use a computer, so he, practically, let's say, he could not contribute very much. But anyway, we let him on the board. Maybe I should have vetted him better. And whilst I was here on my summer holidays, I had to fly back to Brussels to interrupt my holidays, because I have learned that as something happened before, he went to our attorney behind my back without me knowing, and told him that he had been involved in the board, or he's involved in the board, and he asked him to drop our case, so not to go to court, because according to him, all this issue, the TI issue, was not serious. We were not serious. We were not working enough, or we were not working. We were only costing money. And he tried to dissuade him to take the case, and he asked him to drop the case, because he said, I was not serious. The whole TI issue was not serious. So luckily for us, our attorney said, no, I'm not dropping this case. I took it on because it's exactly what I wanted to do. It's a public interest case. I took a commitment when I took this case on. I did not do it lightly. I reflected on it, and on the contrary, I believe it's very, very serious. This is genocide. It's a crime against humanity. This is what when I became a lawyer, wanted to do, and especially what I wanted to do with the Rights and Freedoms Association. So I'm not dropping this case, and I have taken the commitment towards your members, towards Melanie as your president, and I'm not dropping this case. But he did tell me about this later. He said, "Well, are you sure about this person? Because I find it very particular that he came and tried to dissuade me from going forward with the Ikato case." So that was the first warning sign we had. I then organized a confrontation when I was back from the Christmas holidays between the two, and I asked Paolo Crescenzo to tell George what he said that he had told him. Paolo repeated exactly what George had told him, and that he had asked him to drop the case. And I asked George, and George said he couldn't remember anything about this conversation, and he was not sure. And so, okay, we left it at that. And then just the night before, Anat came over, to have the conference with Targeted Justice, Droit et Liberté, Rights and Freedoms, and Ikato. We had a conference together. This person, George, called me himself to tell me that he had just called the president of the Bar Association to complain about Paolo, to complain about this partnership, and to complain about Ikator, and that we were not doing much, and that he wanted to know about Paolo's qualifications. So obviously putting, let's say, the honorability of our association, questioning that with the president of the Bar Association, spreading evil rumors about Droit et Liberté, Paolo Crescenzo, as our head lawyer, and obviously Ikator and myself. So at that time I had to convene the board, and we suspended him. We suspended his rights. And on the 31st of March, I organized an extraordinary General Assembly, and there was a 2/3 majority vote to exclude him from the board. So he has now filed during my summer holidays, had to fly back. He has entered a referee procedure, which is an emergency procedure, to fight his exclusion. And he stated that he did not agree with that, and he wants to be taken back. So that has already caused a lot of legal costs and issues. In addition to stress and me having to fly back. So of course we'll claim the ticket fee, as a prejudice. But if I would also launch an appeal, I will not dwell on that, but if members could support us with the legal fees that we already had now, and we will have to write conclusions, then this would be very much appreciated. So if people could help us with donations under membership and donations on the IKT website, there's a fundraiser site, that would be very much appreciated, because it was really unforeseen. It is pretty shocking what he did. And it has the potential of stalling our work, which is I think is, it's inexcusable to do something like that. With a community, there's a suffering. We're dealing with a crime against humanity. Probably one of the worst that has ever happened in history. And to do this just because you're on an ego trip, and can't stand that you have been excluded when the vote was valid. That is really, we'll need the members' help to fight that, and so that his exclusion can be maintained and we can go on doing what we're doing. That's the only thing I wanted to say. Don't want to talk longly about it, but the members' help would be appreciated.
Thank you, Melanie. We will certainly post a link to ICATOR website where people can make donation. Thank you for describing this incredibly hard fight that you're in the middle of. What you described with your member, it seems to be a common tactic for other organizations as well. And this is one of the reasons we are forming a global coalition that you mentioned between PACS, ICATOR, Targeted Justice. We're all in this fight. a lot of information. You actually answered all of my questions about the ICATOR lawsuit, about your about the reaction of targeted individuals in Europe with respect to our legal efforts. So thank you, Melanie. A lot of information. We'll digest it. We'll post the link. Thank you for your story, for your dedication to our common cause.
Thank you so much for inviting me and to offering me this platform today. And thank you also to Anna for her courageous efforts, and that I fully support. And we will win this fight.
We will. And I just want to add to that in this union with ICATOR and PAX, I mean, we are going to put in the public realm, if Melanie is going to make efforts to get us to the European Parliament, and Richard Lighthouse has, as an expert, has committed himself to testifying. You know, he does have the credentials, he does have the expertise to bring to light the ongoing Holocaust. I mean, in Europe, people are very sensitive about talking about the Holocaust and everything, but they don't realize that nations are looking the other way to this silent Holocaust going on around the world. It's not just in Germany or Poland. And so I think that ICATOR, this union we're going to have, including with the Tribunal of Conscience, is going to be essential to bring to the public realm. Like when I went there and I was in that conference with Droit and Liberté, it's clear that the government criminals that are behind this program don't want alliances and don't want people to hear me or hear Melanie speak or hear you, Len, because when we speak the truth, then people start waking up, and they don't want that. That's why they are just trying to curtail every effort we make. But they're not going to prevail, because we have proven, as Melanie, I was telling Len that, you know, you taught me how we're failed experiments. We have proven that these failed experiments are going to triumph against their evil shenanigans. Len.
Thank you, Anna. That's a very nice way of putting these to words. Well, our episode is coming to an end, and it's time to ask our guests for their final remarks. Let's ask Melanie what your final thoughts are.
Yeah, thank you. My final thoughts are that we're getting stronger and stronger. I'm so pleased about this alliance, and I strongly believe that we will win that, but we will win it because we'll fight and we'll join our forces. That is going to be the key. From all targeted individuals on all the different continents, and we're people from different backgrounds and different life experience, but we all unite with one objective, and that's why we're going to reach this objective. And I believe it's something historical. I can just relate to what Anna said at the beginning of this show, that I'd like to be nowhere in my life than precisely fulfilling the role that I now fulfill. I would like to be doing nothing else. I don't know if you can call it a vocation or something like that, but I'm so honored and I'm so proud and I'm so pleased to be part of this, and if I can contribute with my little bit and fulfill my civil duties, then I'm incredibly honored and proud, and I believe we will win. We will win this fight. I know how difficult it is for, I have so many victims that come to me that thinking about suicide, but just hold on a little longer, and give us the chance to prove to you that we will resolve this, and peace will come back to this earth and to you.
Thank you, Melanie, for your words of wisdom, for your dedication, for your life of purpose. And now, Anna, please, your final thoughts.
Yeah, I want to echo Melanie. When I began this fight, I said to people, we're on mile 23 of the marathon. Now we're on mile 24. I say, figuratively speaking, and it's a little bit more time, yes, but the rewards are going to be great. We each targeted individual is responsible for changing history, for having hold on to their lives despite all the horrible things that have been done to them, to us. So I just urge you to live. I live sometimes 1 minute at a time, just 1 hour at a time. And that helps, being grateful to God. Like this morning, I was just so grateful for the nice cup of coffee I had. Just practice gratitude and practice living in the moment. Right now, I'm fine, and that's all that matters. Okay, so it's just a little bit more time while the courts. I have complete hope that the courts will actually administer justice as it has to be.
Thank you, Anna, for these inspirational words. As for me, I'm calling this show Fifth Circuit is the place to be. There are some truly amazing, earth-shaking things brewing in this constitution-bound U.S. Court of Appeals. The judges in this court are presented not with one, but two cases challenging constitutionality of the terrorist screen database and the apparent abuse of the liberties and rights of the U.S. citizens that the government agencies, first and foremost the FBI, is manifestly involved in. They do it openly. They talk about using their own secret rules and without proper authorization of Congress and without any respect to the Constitution. This has to stop, and I believe this will stop if we unite our efforts, American Muslims, American targeted individuals, and all Americans. And when it does, we will be able to celebrate the return of all our freedoms. Until that happens, we will be here every Sunday, rain or shine.